Happy Thursday, everyone, and the official start of the Anti-Venom Waking Nightmare event. And now, as I said before, this video is going to serve as an update to the spreadsheet math of the previous video, now that we have the details of the Blitz and Arena daily milestone called Dream Warriors. So first off, we are going to take a look at that, and also a quick peek at the milestone alongside the contents of the new Frightlight Orb before we jump back to check out the spreadsheet data for the rest of this event and how it changed with the new info that we have. So without further ado, let's get started. And so here we are in the event window with the Waking Nightmare event. So it's official, it's a 10-day event. So some of it, I wasn't sure exactly how long it was going to be. I thought maybe they might have given us 12 to 14 days, but it turns out it is a little bit shorter than I expected it to be. So that's going to impact, well, that's not going to impact the math, but it's going to impact the expectations of what we can actually achieve and whether or not we can actually clear, especially the orb opening milestone. So we'll get to that later when we get to the spreadsheets. So let's click on the event here and it'll bring up, now we have the Dream Warriors milestone. Now, before the recording of this video, I did do a blitz rotation and I did all of my characters and I managed to get 606 points from the Dream Warriors. That's the daily blitz and arena milestone. So let's click on that and check it out. Not going to claim any of the rewards. Actually, I listed all the rewards in the spreadsheet when we get to that as well. So let's check on the scoring data though, and it'll tell us how we get the points. So you'll see that there's actually a lot of points here just from blitzing. So you get 13 points for blitzing with a character or a mass caper trait character. You also get 7 points here for winning a battle in blitz. So if you were to just use a full team of 5 with mass caper characters, it would be 72 points. So that's 13 times 5 plus 7. And interestingly, you'll notice that the arena is actually not worth that much. Normally arena matches, I think in past events, were worth a lot more. So you get 3 points only for battling an arena. So I guess even just doing your daily arena, you'll still get at least 15. But the throwaway points aren't worth as much. You know, if you were to do a throwaway attack, you would get maybe 38 points there for a full arena, mass caper, throwaway. But in terms of the grand scheme of things and how many points you need for this milestone, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So if we scale down to the bottom, I did clear some of these already. It's a total of 1,600 points to get to the end. So those points that you get from Arena really aren't worth all that much. So the majority of these points are going to come from blitzing, again, which we'll get to when we get to the spreadsheet math. But I do want to go double check and look at the Frightlight Orbs, all these offers popping up here, and look at the contents of what we're actually going to be getting. Oh my god, everything's popping. So let's scroll down to the Frightlight Orb. And we do get, so in the left pillar here, we are getting 15 to 50k gold. Now that's not too terrible. We could always use some extra gold. Now on the right, let's check the right side pillar. Looks to be like some gear, mostly purple gear, but 35% for blue. Yuck. And then 15% for some oranges. So we'll have to see when we start opening them. But of course, over the course of the event, you know, you might get a couple dozen orbs, or if you clear the full thing, maybe I think it's like 40 or something that you need to clear it. But again, we'll get to that with the math. And then the center pillar, of course, this is what I was most curious about, is the shards. So you're getting 3, oh god, so 3, 5, or 8 shards. So a 4% chance to get Anti-Venom in the center for 8 shards. That's not very good. Now, I didn't do the math here. For Anti-Venom's 24% for 3 shards out of a possible 46. I haven't done the math here, so if someone wants to add that, you know, calculate this all together and kind of point out what the chances of getting Anti-Venom are in the orbs combined total, you know, I haven't done any of that. So feel free to post that if you know it, or just do some quick math here. But in terms of the characters, some standouts here, probably Electro, because she's newest, which is a bit surprising that they added in here, and Proxima Midnight, who's also in there. I wasn't sure if they were going to add all of the mass capers. It looks like most of them are there, with the exception of the new symbiotes of Scream and Anti-Venom. Well, sorry, Anti-Venom is there. Scream's not in there, but she still has her event ongoing. So I am kind of surprised that they added Electro and Proxima, but hey, that's not a terrible side bonus, and of course some of these other ones as well if you do need them. So that's all the stuff I just wanted to check out just in the beginning here. So let's dive in back to the spreadsheet where we'll math out some more stuff for this event. Alright, so here we are back over into my spreadsheets where I have all the data. Now, I did do a new table here. This is for the daily Dream Warriors milestones. So this is for the daily blitzing and arena, and I did a little table here just to show off sort of what you need to do daily in order to get these completed. Now, I do want to point out again that this is a 10-day event for the entirety of the Waking Nightmare event for Anti-Venom. We do have 34 Mass Caper characters. That is including Anti-Venom. So I do have different sort of columns here depending on how many Mass Caper characters you have. Now, I actually only have 10 Mass Caper, 20 or 30 different characters. I know there's 34, but my math does include this for now. So you get 7 points for winning the Blitz, 13 with a Mass Caper character, and if you do a full team of 5, that's 72 points for each Blitz win if they're a full team of Mass Caper characters. Now, so in this column here, where this is assuming that you only have 10 Mass Caper characters, this would be like if you're in the really early game and you don't really have that many characters unlocked. As you can see, it's pretty grim, so you're not going to be able to clear the daily milestone probably if you only have 10 characters unlocked with the trait. Makes it very difficult. Even at the max of 8 rotations daily, you're only going to get 1,152 points. And while the arena doesn't really add up too much of the points, you would only get like 190 there a day, so you wouldn't really come to the total of 1,600 that you need to get daily. But looking at some of the other columns, the 20 and the 30, when I have the red background here, that basically means that you hit the milestones. So this is kind of what you would need to do largely in order to hit there. Now, I haven't included the 190 potential points that you could get from arena, but honestly, you're not getting a lot of points out of the arena. So most of it is going to come from blitzes, and that's where I haven't really actually even included arena much into my math data. So you can, it's all here though if you want to take a look at it in terms of what you could possibly get from arena, and you can add that to some of these totals for your overall blitzing here. So as you can see, it's not until you get about 6 rotations, and again, I want to point out that a rotation is not a full blitz rotation in this math here. It's just including like if you were to use a full Mass Caper team. That way you can spam it with your blitz charges as well. So in this case, one rotation is actually only 4 teams of 4 full Mass Caper teams in this case. So it's actually only like 4 blitz matches for one rotation in terms of my data. And then so here, and when you get to the 6 rotations, really what that means is 4 times 6, so that's a total of 30 blitz matches with full Mass Caper teams, and that would hit you the daily milestone. Now, this obviously becomes a lot easier when you get over to 30, which is pretty late game. I would assume that you have most of the characters unlocked at this point, and really it's about 4 rotations of that. So again, I have this here at the end. Let's scroll, can I scroll over a bit? And so this assumes that you have 24, this is 24 full Mass Caper blitz matches. I'm going to say MC because I keep getting tongue-tied a bit when I say that. So 24 full MC blitz matches would get you the required score for the daily milestone. So, and anything past that, of course. So you're looking at a total of about 24 blitz matches for that. It's not too bad, but of course it's really reliant on how many Mass Caper characters you do have unlocked. Obviously, the more the better. You could also go the route of just doing your basic, the same blitz rotations that you do normally, because obviously the more blitzing that you do, the more orb fragments you're going to pick up, which we're going to touch on a little bit down the line here, and how that impacts the orb opening milestone. So you don't necessarily have to do blitz rotations involving solely Mass Caper characters. You know, that's only if you just want to hit this milestone, this daily milestone. If you're going to be doing long-term blitzing, I would recommend just doing your normal blitzing, you know, your however many teams you have, your 20 teams or whatever, and then using 5 or 6 teams to tier down, and then just doing that over and over again from like tier 1 through 5, tier 1 through 6, and then tiering down again, because that's the easiest way to do mass amounts of blitzing, which you're going to need to do for this event. So we're going to scroll past this arena, and again, we're going to look at this. The total points needed is 1,600. So to put this into perspective, I did one full rotation just before the recording of this video of 28 blitz teams, and I scored 606 points of the total 1,600 needed. So, and that wasn't even worrying about Mass Caper teams. I just did, you know, all of my regular blitz teams that I did, and I cycled through them, and that's what I got. So you probably wouldn't even need 3 full rotations if you have as many if you have most of the characters or all of the characters unlocked. You're probably looking at 3-ish full rotations daily in order to clear it. So just wanted to clear that up here. And the total rewards you get, and I multiplied it by 10 because there's 10 days of the milestone, 10 daily milestones, for a total of 70 advanced basic catalysts, 30 purple stat catalysts, 150 superior basic catalysts, 20 orange stat catalysts, some gear credits and blitz charges I didn't count up, to be honest, and then 13,500 Fright Light orb fragments, and this is going to be really important when we go back into the other orb opening milestone and change up the math there. And then you get 30 Anti-Venom Shards, so that's 3 Anti-Venom Shards per day, multiplied by 10 gives you 30. So that's the end of this sort of daily Dream Warriors milestone. We're going to jump over to the next segment where we're going to look at the update to the orb opening milestone. And so we are just skipping ahead here to the orb opening milestone, the Night Terrors milestone is what they call it. I've done some updates to the math charts here, and in terms of the numbers and the amount of orbs that we need to open. So we're going to start here from the orbs from the daily milestone. So you guys will probably recognize this if you watched the previous video in terms of the math and all that. So I've added in the data from the daily milestones, but also from the Blitz milestone rewards. So from today's She-Hulk Blitz, and also I assume it's going to be the same for the Monday and next Thursday Blitz, that is also going to include 2 orbs for the milestone if you get to 750k. So I have added that into the data as well. So from the daily milestone here, you get 6.75 orbs. This is the 1350 fragments times 10 days of the daily milestone, which gives you a total number of points of 4496. Now this is going to be important down here. And then the orbs from the Blitz milestones, assuming it's the same, it's going to be 6, and that's 2 orbs per Blitz. Gives you a total of points of this of 3,996, and so this is the old number that we had in the previous video, 38,070 points, but if you subtract that 38,000 minus these other 2 numbers, you're going to get 29,579. And now this is assuming that you clear all of the above milestones, including the daily milestone, the raid milestone, and get those fragments from the Blitz milestones as well. And this produces a new number of 44.41 in terms of the total orbs needed to farm. Obviously, you can't have a weird number like that, so it's probably going to be 45. So I should have probably actually just made it 45, to be honest. But that's how it's going to look right here for the math down below. So this does make an update to the worst case scenario farming. Also, there is something that I wanted to point out, in that we might not get orb fragments on Sunday's Orb Assault Blitz. Personally, I don't remember, but I think that they don't always give you orb fragments to farm during that, so you're gonna have to keep that in mind in terms of your blitzing overall, and that might impact whether or not you end up clearing the milestone if you're kind of delaying yourself, and you know, even though people do a lot of blitzing on Sunday for that, you might not get the orb fragments for that, so just bear that in mind when you're thinking about this. So I do also want to point out that like I said, I did do 1 blitz rotation prior to this video filming this, and I got 2,775 orb fragments from a single blitz rotation that I did prior to this video. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an example of what you could expect to get somewhere around that margin for a full blitz rotation of that many teams. But in terms of how that changes the numbers, so we have, I guess what you could say is part 1 and part 2. I did make some adjustments to this after the first video, and that's basically if you're doing full 28 blitz teams wins, and that's assuming that you're not tiering down, whereas part 2 is probably more you can probably expect to do that because you're going to be using 6 tiers to drop tiers, and that makes it significantly easier to do auto blitzing like this. So you see that these are the days needed solely on the worst case blitzing. Now again, this only assumes that you're going to be getting 50 orb fragments per win, not more than that, because obviously I can't account for that, and honestly I don't know what the average is. I don't know if that was mathed out in previous events in terms of what you expect to get. 50 to 100 fragments I think is pretty normal, and anything above that is really good RNG. So if you happen to get like a full orb, which I think is possible, then obviously this is going to push you ahead a lot. But you need a total of like 44 to 45 orbs to farm just solely through blitzing, and we have these numbers here. So 7.93 days, or basically 8 days, if you're doing all of your blitz teams. Again, not super likely, but what is likely is this number here, which is basically about 10 days, which is the duration of the event needed to solely, you know, if you were blitzing 8 rotations. So keep that in mind. This is with the intention of 8 rotations, which is the maximum to basically clear this orb opening milestone, which doesn't seem great. And I know not everyone is gonna do 8 rotations, even with 22 teams, every single day. That's a lot of time spent. I'm not going to calculate that out either, but even myself, you know, I don't know, I might get like 5 to 6 rotations out. So I don't wholly expect to finish the orb opening milestone. So if you're not someone who spends a lot of money on, you know, cores or cores for these fright orbs, if you can even buy them that way, or spend money to buy these orbs, I would say it's a bit unlikely that you're going to clear this completely free to play. But it might be possible, and I'd be interested to know if any of you guys end up clearing the milestone completely free to play. I'll, you know, maybe at the end of the event, I'll post my information and see if I've actually ended up clearing it myself. But I honestly, at this point, I don't know if I'll have an enemy, especially on these sort of less important blitzes on Monday, and I don't even know what's going to be next Thursday, whether or not I end up blitzing as much as I hope I do. Obviously, I want the Anti-Venom Shards, but, you know, it's hard to say because this is a lot of blitzing, and it's really gonna kill me. So yeah, I mean, there's all the major changes that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. Obviously, because there are some orb fragments available in the daily milestone, it does make the possibility of clearing this milestone a little bit better, but the fact that we only have 10 days, aside from what I thought might have been 12 to 14, kind of evens out those odds. And whether or not you can clear the orb opening milestone free to play, like I said, is really going to depend on how much blitzing you plan to do, how lucky your RNG is, because honestly, it's still going to be a lot of blitzing no matter how you slice it. That being said, you're probably looking at the difference of maybe 12 to 20 Anti-Venom Shards in those last milestones, so whether or not that makes a huge difference to you will depend on where you're currently sitting at shard-wise for him. And I hope that this update helps everyone who plans on working away at this event, though, and I, of course, will be doing this despite how blitz-heavy it is. I'm just going to be super exhausted by the end of it. Good news is that this might be the last time that they're relying on blitz, given that the blitz simming is coming supposedly in December, so we'll have to see how that plays out in relation to future events. But anyways, that's all from me for this video, and if you guys found this informative, then please smash that like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And of course, until next time, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylon signing out.